Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you the story of my labor and delivery with Xander. So I actually didn't know that my water broke. Also, I had some very weird effects with the epidural, but we'll get into that whole part of the story later. My son actually just turned 1 like a week ago, so I thought it was a perfect time to share this story because I don't think I've ever actually shared the story on YouTube before. I really like watching videos like this because everybody's birth story is a little bit different and unique, and I think it's just really interesting. So that is why I'm here making this video today. There was a lot of things that I didn't expect to happen during my labor, and that's kind of the thing, like, you can make a plan for your labor, but it's never gonna go exactly how you planned it. So it all started on December 7th, 2019. So it was a Saturday and I happened to be off of work that day, which was great. Like, I was so happy because at that point I was so miserable and I could barely walk anymore. And it was just like, it was hard. Work was very hard at this point. Zach was working overnights, and so he was very tired. And so we were laying on the couch watching a movie, and at about 11 a.m. he fell asleep. And so I just left him and I got him to go into the bedroom and go to sleep because he was exhausted, and so I just left him alone. And so for the rest of the day I had planned on cleaning. I wanted to like deep clean the entire apartment because, I don't know, it's just a part of nesting. Like, you want to get things ready. I didn't want the apartment to be messy when we went to the hospital. Now granted, I wasn't due for another week at this point, so I didn't really know. Like, some people said, oh, you'll go past your due date, and some people are like, oh, you'll go early, you know. So I didn't know. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I just thought, I have the day off, Zach's sleeping, I'm gonna clean. And so I cleaned pretty much all afternoon. And I kind of like went back and forth. I would take breaks and bounce on the yoga ball for a while and watch HGTV because I was like really into that at that point. That was a good time. It was actually a really nice, relaxing day. And there was no signs of labor. I didn't feel anything happening. I didn't feel any different. I do remember that Zach made a pot of chili and I had a bowl of that, and we always joke that like the chili is what made me go into labor, but I don't think so. It was around 4 or 5 o'clock, I would say, in the afternoon when I decided to take a bath. I was taking a bath pretty much every day at this point because it felt really good just to like soak my body and just like take a load off. It was very nice. But when I got in the bath, I believe at that point is when my water did start to break, but I didn't realize that's what it was. I think I just, you know how there's like the mucus plug and stuff like that? I don't know, I guess I just assumed maybe that was it. There was just a little bit of something in there, you know? Wasn't a lot, didn't mean anything to me at that point because, like, I don't know, it just didn't seem like a big deal. So I got in the bathtub, I was bathing for a while, and I think I was in there about an hour, maybe less. I can't really remember that part, but I remember when at that point it was very hard to get out of the bath because I was like this giant beached whale just like trying to get up, and that didn't go well. So I basically had to get on my hands and knees, like flip over, get on my hands and knees, and then get out. And when I did that, I thought I peed. Like, I literally was like, oh, I must have had to pee, but like I didn't know. Like, that was weird, you know? But like, pregnancy does stuff to you. Like, I just accepted it, you know? It didn't really feel like pee. It just felt like, oh, you know, something happened. Something left my body. I finally managed to get myself out of the tub. I thought I just peed a little. It's fine, it's normal. Like, I don't know, maybe it was bath water. I didn't know what happened, okay? Like, I just know that it was kind of weird, and I just continued on with my life. So I got out of the bath, I dried off, I was gonna put my clothes on. When I went to put my clothes on, another big gush of water came out of me. And I was like, okay, that wasn't pee. Like, there's no way that was pee. That was definitely my water breaking. Zach had been sleeping all day, and I want to say this, typically he wouldn't have slept all day on a Saturday. He would have normally, because he didn't go until midnight, I think it was. So he would have normally went to sleep at like 6 p.m. on those days. Like every other Saturday, that's normally when he would go to sleep. So the fact that he went to sleep at 11 was really good because he would have been completely exhausted if he would have waited till then. Anyways, so I go to wake him up and I'm like, I'm pretty sure my water just broke. And he says to me, do you have a reason to be saying that to me? And I'm like, I mean, no other reason than the fact that I'm in labor. I finally like convinced him that I'm not kidding because he thought that I was telling him that to get him out of bed. I called the doctor's office and basically told them what was going on, and so they told me to lay down on my side for 10 minutes and then get back up, and if more water comes out, then that means that my water broke. Which at that point I was already very convinced because like it just, yeah, there was no other explanation for what was happening. I did that. Obviously more water came out. I called them back and then they gave me the okay to go into the ER or the urgent care. I don't remember what it was. I think it was the urgent care. And I had like my hospital bags packed like weeks before, so I was good there. I just had to grab that and like just get everything together and we went. So that really didn't take long. But once we got there, like my water was just continuing to break. And so basically all the way through the doors into the little office area where you're like checking in and stuff, like I just was leaking a trail into that hospital. They got me a wheelchair. They took me up into our room. I got changed. They gave me a little time before they started to do the IV, and they finally did start the IV, and that was traumatic because it took them like 4 or 5 times to actually get it in, and that hurt so badly. And so I was just kind of chilling. We walked around for a bit, just kind of unpacking. Like I had no contractions at all at this point. It was just my water that had broken. They wanted to start giving me Pitocin if I didn't start having contractions, which I didn't. So they started giving me Pitocin. And they would ask me, you know, after a while, is there any pain? Like, are you feeling anything yet? And I would just say, I feel fine. Like, maybe I felt a little, very light cramping, but like hardly anything. Like, it was hardly detectable at all. And so they just kept upping it and upping it and upping it and upping it. At that point, I think it was about 11 p.m. And I decided, you know what, we should probably get some rest because I don't know when things are gonna actually start happening. So we laid down, everybody fell asleep, and I don't know, I think I closed my eyes. It was really hard to sleep because like I'm just not really calm. Like I was calm, but I don't know, it's still hard to sleep when you know what's about to happen, you know what I mean? I was laying there for a while. I think I was watching like Home Alone or something, I don't know. It was a very Christmassy time, like they just constantly had Christmas movies on, so I was watching those. And I remember all of a sudden, I feel like I was like actually starting to fall asleep at this point, but all of a sudden I felt this burst, like this really, really painful burst. And I almost thought that my appendix burst. Like that's how weirdly painful and just strange that this felt. And I honestly thought something else was wrong. Like I didn't think that it had anything to do with labor, which it did. So what I believe happened is that more water exited my body, which made Xander's head like become in contact with my pelvic bone. And that like thud of when that happened is what that pain was. And so after that, I was just in pain. And so from, I don't know, it was probably midnight to 4, I dealt with very, very painful contractions. And then I finally decided to get the epidural, and my nurse was like, okay, well, if you want to get the epidural, like now's probably the time. And so I was like, you know, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Because, I mean, I was dealing with the pain, but when she said the word epidural, I was like, okay, give it to me. She'd said that it would take an hour to get, so at that point I was like, okay, like I can make it another hour, let's go. I was very active the whole time. Like I was trying to walk around and do things because it was really hard to just sit still and be in that much pain. And so when they were actually gonna put the epidural in, Zach was, you know, sitting in front of me, and they want you to bend forward and they put it in, you know? And you can't move because if you move, they can paralyze you, so that's just fantastic. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, my contractions are so close together at this point, so I knew that no matter what, while they were doing that, I was gonna be having a contraction. It was either gonna be starting or ending. I didn't know which. I remember being so concerned that I wouldn't be able to hold still because the contractions hurt so bad that like the only way to deal with it was to move around. And so miraculously, I made it. The lady doing it said, okay, you're about to kick your husband or whatever. I don't remember what she said exactly, but you're about to kick him. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm about to kick him, you know? And she hit a nerve or something, and my leg just shot out and kicked him. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I had instant relief once they got that in. Like, I mean instant relief. I felt better like that. Like, it was amazing. I was like, okay, I love epidural. And so there was just pure bliss at that point. And so I think I fell asleep for a little bit during that time. But they had to keep like adjusting me and put me in different positions because like your legs are numb, you can't move them yourself. So they had to come in and move my legs and like put a giant ball in between my legs, and I don't know, they were doing things. I was trying to rest. I didn't really get a lot of rest, but I do think I slept a little bit. It was probably about 7 in the morning when I felt like he dropped just significantly further down. Like, he was so low. And I was like, yeah, it's gotta be time. Like, I don't know when the last time they checked me was, but he is there. Like, he is ready to come out right now. And I don't think they believed me when I said that at first. They were like thinking it would take a lot longer, but the kid was there, man. Like, I could tell. I couldn't feel pain, but I could feel the pressure of him moving. And so like, there was no argument about that. He was there. So they had me start pushing. That wasn't too bad. I honestly feel like the pushing part was the easiest part of the whole thing. The contractions were the worst. Actually, probably the IV was the worst part of the entire experience, which is really silly to me. I pushed for only 30 minutes, which I am so thankful for. It didn't even feel like it was 30 minutes. But the reason that it was kind of quick is because at the end they realized that the cord was wrapped around his neck, and so they needed to get him out a little bit sooner. So they took that plunger thing. I don't know if that's the official term, but like, it was basically a plunger that they plunged onto his head and then like was trying to get him out. And they said, you know, you could have done it on your own pretty easily, but we just wanted to speed it up a little bit. So then at 8:06 a.m. my baby boy emerged and he was healthy, he was crying, like, he was perfect in every way, still is. If you would like to see the video on how I found out I was pregnant with Xander, I will link that down below, and I will also put it in a card. And I'm also pregnant now. So if you'd like to see the video on how I found out I was pregnant with this one, that will also be linked down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.